Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I got a lot of compliments on my Spider-Man web line. Probably wondering what this giant jumbled mass of stuff is, but I made this web line probably a few years ago, and I use it with my Spider-Man costume, and it just gets a ton of laughs and a ton of attention at events. And all it was is it's pretty simple. What I did was I took some, I think it's quarter-inch clear aquarium tubing, and you just get that from like Home Depot or something. And then what I did was I glued it. I glued and then screwed it onto this little bolt, and then I made just a couple little aluminum brackets here. So this little L bracket, and then this curved piece that goes down here, and then sort of a wider piece that curves like that. And so the reason why it's curved like that is so that you can place it in your right or left hand and hold it right there, and it basically looks like, when you're pointing it at the camera, it looks like you're shooting a web, right? Most people can't, your fingers are going to be covering the rest of this stuff and you're not really going to see it, but from a distance when you're kind of moving around, it totally looks like you're shooting a web. And then what I did for the actual webbing was I used this Rex lace stuff. So it's stuff that you can get at most craft stores and hobby stores, and it's for kids that are making those bracelets that you see where they put all these beads and jewels and things on them. So you can use gray or white, and I chose to use white. I kind of wanted to keep it a little bit more, I guess, kind of comic booky. And then what I did was I glued, I think, what is it, like maybe about 5 or 6 strands around, along the length of the tubing. And this whole web line's about, I don't know, 12 or 15 feet long. And then about every foot or so, I did these sort of wrappings that you can kind of see here, and they just go around like 5 or 6 times. And then, sorry, one more thing underneath that was I did this kind of spiral pattern with another piece of Rex lace. And the whole idea was that I wanted to make it look like Todd McFarlane's spaghetti webbing. If you're a fan of comic books in the 90s, 80s and 90s, that's kind of where my Spider-Man influences came from. So I really wanted that sort of spaghetti webbing look when he's, Spider-Man's doing all these awesome, hand gestures like this, and he's always kind of like clutching his web and spinning through the air. All the webbing looked like this. It was this sort of spaghetti webbing. So it's pretty simple in terms of the materials. It was just super, super labor intensive. So, and the glue I used was just a Zap-A-Gap, I think, gap filling formula. I think it's like the medium flow one. And the reason why I used that was it dried pretty quick, but it also sort of like filled in any kind of gaps. And, I've never really had any problems with it cracking or coming apart. Most of the flex kind of happens in these open areas and not so much at these knots anyways. But that's pretty much it. It's been a pretty big hit at most events when I'm dressed up as Spider-Man. And anyways, a few people asked, and I thought this might help them out. So that is how you make spaghetti webbing Spider-Man web line. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.